Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Aries November 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing up is, as far as November goes, the sun will be in Scorpio from the 1st until the 22nd, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, there could be very strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on insurance matters, taxes, even death. It could be over transformation, regeneration, rebirth. It could also be shared resources, emotional support, monetary support, even moral support from others in general. And really given that this is Scorpio energy, this could be done with a lot of Scorpio emotional intensity, resourcefulness, a lot of willful energy, a lot of really investigative energy. If there's a death that you're not really sure about and it's something's obscure, or there's some details you're really a little bit you haven't really gotten, then this could be that time when it might be a good time to do more research digging deep and researching extensively on these matters. Now, it could also be done with a lot of Scorpio like incisiveness and going through subterfuge and superficiality, and perhaps especially with sexual partners or someone you're in an intimate relationship, and doing a lot of these 8th house things with a lot of probing energy, and it might be done very secretively and very surreptitiously as well. Next thing up, as far as November goes, the sun will be in Sagittarius from the 22nd until the 30th, so the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, there could be a very strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on philosophy, higher education, religion, grandchildren, in-laws, traveling abroad, publishing even, abstract thinking, going outside the box, and even global communications. And given that this is this is Sagittarius energy, this could be done with a lot of Sagittarius-like enthusiasm, exuberance, expansive energy, a lot of effervescence and optimism as well, and also with a lot of jocularity and really more with the in-laws and grandchildren and people that are involved as far as 9th house matters go, and done with a lot of candidness and that veritable truth. And again, especially in matters where where you're communicating, it could even be global communications, in-laws, grandchildren, it could even be through publishing as well, and a lot of candidness as well, given that this is Sagittarius energy. And anyway, well, the next thing up is there will be a new moon in Scorpio on November 7th, so the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, this could be a time where you may have a new, could be a Scorpio intimate relationship. It could be with a Scorpio sun, moon, or ascendant, or one that simply embodies Scorpio-like characteristics. It could be one where you start a very provocative or deep relationship or sexual connection. This could be one that's not superficial. Now, in some cases, could this be a sexual transformation, a new sexual transformation? In some cases, it may be a literal one. If you're having other transits or there's things in your chart that might reaffirm or reinforce this, such as like a Pluto hitting a personal point, such as the ascendant or something, or the sun. Anyway, it could also be. This could be a new period of maybe doing something astrological or psychology, maybe doing it with someone you're in an intimate relationship with. This could be a time where you really, maybe it's a new period of doing some more investigation and digging deep into matters with shared resources of death or even an inheritance at this time as well, and showing new probing energy of getting to the bottom of things that are 8th house related, such as a death, inheritance, an insurance matter. And there might even be a new mystery in some cases, and a lot of that new mystery surrounding something 8th house related, such as something where you're having maybe some business connection, something with shared resources. It could be something with maybe a credit card situation. And a lot of this could depend on the aspects it makes. I mean, let's say if it's making an adverse aspect to Neptune, it could be something that could be very confounding and confusing and add more to the mystery, and something where it would really be very, where it would really be fuzzy, really trying to say what actually happened. But a positive aspect to Jupiter, of course, could be more auspicious and fortuitous for getting to the bottom of that mystery quicker, though. Anyway, next thing up, there will be a full moon in Gemini on November 23rd. So the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, it could be a time where you might become very tired, exasperated, full of perhaps a very mercurial, vacillating, overly loquacious, talkative, superficial sibling, a cousin, a neighbor. It could be someone from your early education, or it could just be of superficial communications. You might be searching for something deeper as far as that goes and more profound at this time. Now, also, it could be a time, too, where you might just be simply, this is full energy, it might be something where you become inundated, say, with emails, other communications that are in your, say, in your neighborhood or people you talk to frequently. It could be doing a time, it could also be a communication or writing that reaches a culmination or conclusion at this time. It could have been done with a lot of Gemini-like eloquence and verbosity. And also, too, remember when you have a full moon, it could also manifest in a revelation or unveiling of something. This could be something where maybe a person in the neighborhood causing some kind of mischief is revealed or unveiled at this time. And also, too, could be a lot of full energy and doing something dexterous in your neighborhood, or something where it's third house related, such as working on a vehicle, doing automobile repair for a cousin, a neighbor, a sibling, or something, and someone maybe prominent in your short journeys, perhaps. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Sagittarius, and it'll be retrograde from like the 17th until the 30th, and the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, this could be about having a lot of philosophical, blunt, very candid, jovial, really even happy conversations with in-laws and grandchildren, perhaps with foreigners as well. Conversations where you speak the veritable truth, perhaps with people prominent in your higher, and maybe if you're going to college or a university, it could be with those people. This could also be about doing a lot of writing with a lot of enthusiasm, really thinking very enthusiastically and positive regarding matters with publishing. It could be sports writing you're trying to get published. And given that it's going to be retrograde, you might be going back to more philosophical communications, perhaps with retrograde for part of the month, going back to some philosophical and expansive, enthusiastic discussions with people you may know at a religious congregation, maybe in-laws with grandchildren, perhaps with foreigners as well, or people that you meet maybe through traveling abroad. Now, remember, as I've spoken about in previous videos, that Mercury can also be about siblings. So it could be where you might have Sagittarius siblings. They could be Sagittarius Sun, Moon, or Ascendant siblings, or simply ones that embody Sagittarius-like characteristics, might figure more prominently in your philosophy, in your religion and higher education, even abstract thinking, perhaps at this time more so than usual. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Venus will be in Libra this month, and it will be retrograde from like the 1st until the 16th. And the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. So at this time, you might find yourself really having more, I guess you could say, it could be about, during a time when it's retrograde, it could be some kind of retroactive payment from some legality or some lawsuit perhaps or money that was owed, maybe in a partnership. Perhaps it could also be about Venus being in Libra. This could manifest perhaps in having very balanced, equitable, so to speak, spending on 7th house matters, such as others in general. It could be a significant other, a grandmother perhaps, and really dispersing your money perhaps evenly on this thing, and also valuing peace, tact, and diplomacy and fairness in your relationships in general. And it could be maybe having to spend some kind of really, given that this is going to be 7th house's legalities, it could be about a fair amount of spending on dealing with open adversaries, which of course could be legal opponents. And so anyway, and also too, it could be the manifest in the enjoyment of Libra-like things with others in general. It could be a Libra-like game, such as playing like a Law and Order board game, or something with Law and Order SVU or whatever it is. Or doing something, like a CSI, something, well, not CSI, something that could be like a law, something that could, a people's court, something like that, a people's court game, something along those lines. Hold on a minute, people. Sorry about that. Next thing up. Well, Mars will be in Aquarius as far as November goes, from the 1st until like the 15th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, it could be at this time where the situations with friends, acquaintances might be more contentious and acrimonious than usual. You might find yourself getting into more fights with friends over your future, your goals, aspirations at this time. And you may see yourself becoming more angry over idiosyncratic, bizarre, or unusual behavior from people in groups, clubs, organizations. It could be your friends, it could be acquaintances, even stepchildren if applicable at this time. On a more positive side, you could find yourself too putting more energy and vitality into Aquarius-like things such as electronics, computers, astrology, astronomy, aerospace, innovation, in group organizations, with friends, with acquaintances, and maybe in some organization, perhaps. And it could even mean, really, this is something too where you gotta, looking at this, is that you can also, Mars and Aquarius could be about sporadic and erratic energy, could be very inconsistent in matters with 11th house, such as, go energy toward your future or social media, things of that nature, anything 11th house related. Next thing up, Mars will be in Pisces from like the 15th until the 30th of November. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, you might find yourself at this time becoming more angry over perhaps overly passive, submissive, timid, even confused or obscure aunts or uncles, people prominent in your private life. You could be putting a lot of self-sacrificing and compassionate energy into helping those less fortunate than yourself, such as the impoverished, the homeless, the hungry, and the oppressed. Also, this can manifest perhaps in private battles and solitude and seclusion at this time, and maybe wondering what they're 100%, maybe what they're actually about in some cases, given that this is obscure Pisces energy. And also perhaps a lot of energy expended into Pisces-like things in solitude and seclusion, such as the metaphysical, spirituality, photography, chemistry. And you might find at this time that there could be something where, another way this could manifest, this could be also where you might find your energy more depleted and dissipated than usual. You might find yourself in some cases where you may be fulfilling some kind of sexual fantasies through a clandestine affair, something that you do that is very, very strongly private. So anyway, next thing up, Jupiter will be in Scorpio as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 8th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, This could be a time for Aries where you could have a lot of luck and fortune through making a very deep, provocative transformation. It could be also very fortuitous for unveiling secrets regarding someone you're in an intimate relationship with. It could be over some inheritance matter. In some cases, it could be about be very positive and auspicious for going beyond subterfuge and superficiality with the sexual partner, someone you're in an intimate relationship with. It could be people that you may be involved in some kind of insurance matters, perhaps. It could be over inherited something. And also, too, if there's any kind of, remember that Jupiter, could be paradoxical. It's very strongly benign and benevolent, but could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Some cases, this could enlarge and expand, perhaps surreptitious, nefarious, even manipulative behavior. This could be something where, this could be involved in credit, some kind of credit card issue at this time. And really, so those are some things to look at. It could also be the way this could manifest. And of course, if it's something involved with the credit card issue, of course, the aspects it makes could really play a role in terms of getting doing something about it, and sooner or later, or figuring it out quicker or later. So the thing about this too is this could also be about having a very profound philosophy regarding matters with transformation and death at this time. And it could also be very fortuitous for receiving very emotional, moral support on a deep level at this time, and even monetary support, perhaps. So anyway, next thing up. Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, you might find yourself having to take care of, in some cases, perhaps a debilitated or sickly a dominant parent or somebody in a position of authority over you. This could be if it's somebody that's involved in your reputation or public image, perhaps such as like a promoter, for example. Also, as well, you might be finding more restrictions and limitations at this time in matters pertaining to your career, your public image, your reputation, trying to attain notoriety and exposure. You might find yourself working very hard and laboriously over career-related matters at this time, more so than usual. It could be something government related. And if you find yourself taking care of, say, a debilitated or sickly dominant parent, or someone you might know well in a position of authority that you might have a rapport with, it could be something that might be Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, or the joints, and might be making you feel somewhat melancholy and despondent at this time. And anyway, the next thing up is that Uranus will be in Taurus as far as November goes, from the 1st until the 6th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time for Aries. So you might find yourself at this time, Aries, having a lot of unusual persistence and perseverance over financial matters. It could be a change, maybe dealing with your income situation may be somewhat erratic and sporadic at this time. You might be going through more financial fluctuations and disruptions, and also a change in income might affect your self-esteem and self-worth. And a lot of this, of course, could depend on the aspects this makes to other points in your natal chart. A positive aspect to Jupiter, it could be maybe a positive change in your self-esteem and self-worth. Could go the other way, say if an adverse aspect is made to your natal Jupiter, as an example. Now, could also be too that Taurus friendships, or friends that embody Taurus-like characteristics could, well, first of all, it could be Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or ones that embody Taurus-like characteristics. Those friends might have to play a greater role in your self-esteem, your self-worth, your possessions, and your income generated more so than usual. Taurus people can be about money, so maybe in a lot of cases this could actually be more beneficial than it is to one's detriment. But of course, the aspects this makes, of course, can play a role as well. So anyway, next thing up, Uranus will be in Aries as far as November goes, from the 6th until the 30th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, it could be a time where you might express yourself in a more innovative, really innovative, pioneering manner, more so than usual. Hold on a minute again, people. Sorry about that, but anyway. This could be about dealing with unpredictable, acrimonious moments with maybe people from your early childhood. It could be where maybe you express maybe some unpredictable, angry outbursts at this time, Aries. And also, this could manifest perhaps in Uranus like new beginnings, such as something with astrology or another esoteric subject. Being more of an innovator, it could be something where with computers, electronics, aerospace, astronomy, even rocket science in some isolated cases. Now, also too, it could be that Aries friendships may have a stronger impact on your outlook on life, more so than usual. And it could be people that people that are actual Aries, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or ones that simply embody Aries-like characteristics. And also, too, it might affect your outlook on life. And you might go through some kind of unusual appearance, more so than usual, and looking more, something that you might try some kind of unusual or bizarre, unorthodox type look at this time. And also, to be careful about, Uranus could be connected with electricity, especially if this is actually hitting the one's actual ascendant, the physical body. This has a greater propensity, perhaps, of actually getting electrical shocks. So be very careful, especially if you do work involving wiring and taking your precautions, wearing your gloves, whatever you need to be doing. Anyway, next thing up. Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the 12th house will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, people in your private life, aunts, uncles, might be a little bit unclear, obscure, or nebulous at this time. In some cases, this could be about a confounding or confusing mental illness. In some isolated cases, especially, really, if there's other elements in the chart that indicate this, or if this transit, say, is making an adverse aspect, say, to your Mercury, or even the cusp of the 3rd house, I would say, as an example. Another thing, too, in some cases, if you are a drinker or a drug user, especially in some remote cases, alcohol and drugs, recreational drugs, could be one's self-undoing at this time. On a positive note, though, this could also manifest in doing Neptune-like things in solitude and seclusion, showing, doing something with the metaphysical, mystical, spirituality. Metaphysical, of course, can include astrology, chemistry, photography, poetry, or dancing even. And also, too, dealing with, dealing perhaps with, as well, doing things like where, you're given that this is Neptune and Pisces, the 12th house, it could be that maybe there's a lot of chaos in your private life that you're going to be dealing with as well at this time. And the thing about it is, too, 12th house is also hidden adversary, so it could be a time where on the positive side, this could be about the dissipation, dissolving of them, or at times it could be very obscure, trying to seek them out. Well, people, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. We're going to have to do a rewind. It's almost like Mercury is in retrograde already for me, because I got to go back to when I was talking about Jupiter, that Jupiter is going to be, I didn't talk about Jupiter being in Sagittarius from as far as November goes, from the 8th until the 30th. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. I'm sorry about that. But what I want to talk about is that as far as that goes, Jupiter will be entering Sagittarius November 8th, and it will be, and as far as November goes, be there until the 30th. at this time. This could be about, I mean, as I've talked about before, Jupiter can be very paradoxical. It could be very benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It could also expand perhaps reckless behavior, very overexuberance, optimism, perhaps in matters with in-laws and grandchildren. It could be publishing, higher education. So, and really just really it's good to be able to have optimism in certain things, but don't become overly optimistic in ninth house matters, as it could be to your detriment and downfall at this time. Could also be very fortuitous for doing things that are sports related, religion, publishing, perhaps with in-laws or grandchildren, with foreigners at this time. And also too, this could be also be very auspicious for being that perpetual learner. You're talking about Jupiter in Sagittarius and the ninth house being emphasized and highlighted. Of course, the ninth house does correspond with Sagittarius. And anyway, and it could also be, I mean, remember that again, that Jupiter can also, when you're talking about Jupiter in Sagittarius, this could also expand lack of discretion with ninth house matters, and it could be really over matters with traveling abroad, higher education. Really, it could be matters connected with grandchildren, with in-laws. It could be over publishing things, or maybe in maybe matters with a religious congregation. So anyway, well, last but not least, we're going to go to Pluto, and Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time for Aries, well, this could be in some cases, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. This could actually be manifest in the actual death of, in some cases, the dominant parent, which is often the father. It could be an authority figure, someone that might have figured prominently in your public image, your reputation, and also maybe even the success or notoriety you may have attained, if you have attained any. At the same time, in some cases, this could be about an obliteration or destruction of one's reputation, of one's public image. As well, you could, on a positive note, you could be doing something career-related. That could be Pluto-like. It could be something connected. Working with something with death, such as being a coroner, or working in embalming, or something connected with the supernatural, the occult. It could be something astrological. So, and also about giving more power to career matters and trying, and also attaining some kind of success or an authority position at this time. So, anyway, and also, and could also guard against power struggles, perhaps with the dominant parent, which is often the father, authority figures at this time, and maybe even people really that might be prominent in your public image, your reputation, even in your career at this time. It doesn't necessarily have to be an authority figure. It could just be somebody that maybe you work with, or somebody that might have helped you attain maybe some success in your career. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Aries November 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Taurus November 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.